Hello, hello, hello everyone. Welcome in. Sorry the stream's on a different day than usual. Had some stuff going on this week. Not bad stuff, just stuff. I see y'all are talking about what you've been reading in the chat. That's fun, that's fun. Been reading Project Hail Mary. That's cool, that's cool. I have not seen Dragon Striker. I don't know what that is. Ivana says I was reading a new Epic Mickey collection comic book. That's fun. So, as you can see, what I have on screen right now is some furniture and stuff that I've been working on for Torrera's office. This is going to be a kind of chest bureau thing. That's going to be the drawer that is on the top. And this is going to be a sliding door that's on the bottom. There's going to be two of them sliding on the bottom. And this, on the right, is going to be Milagro's bed. Milagro is Torrera's pet cave hound. So that's going to be fun, making a little doggy bed over there. Still needs to be painted. And then here is the pillow that is a seat for a Japanese style cross-legged seat that I'm working on. Should be fun. By the way, the music we are listening to right now is You Found a Secret Cave, relaxing video game music. So, you might have noticed I've already done some painting work on this. Such as doing the wood grain on here. I usually like to do the wood grain on my iPad because it's such a... It's a process that I can actually do on Procreate as part of the painting process, which means if it's on Procreate, it's on my iPad, which means it's on my iPad, which means I can do it on the go. So if I'm in the car or if I'm just on the road or doing something else or downstairs not on my main computer, I can actually do some of the 3D texture work when I'm not at my computer. It's great. However, like I've said in my videos before, Procreate 3D painting is not great, so that's kind of the only part of the process I can do on my iPad. So then I just export it out and put it in 3D Coat, like this. One of the reasons I can actually do it in Procreate is because I can do this in 2D mode pretty easily. I don't have to be in 3D mode. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I'm just rambling to myself. In any case, yes, the wood grain I have finished painting, and now I've put it in here. And of course I did my ambient occlusion bake, which looks so nice. Oh, thank you very much for the 2 jewels. Thank you, Taylor. And also, I did some, darkened up some of the areas that are in shadow, and I did some lightening on some areas. Biggest thing that needs to be done next is the edges. This is kind of my process for making wooden furniture. You'll see as we go along. Hold on, let me... One second, let me do this one last thing real quick before I start doing the edges. Strange. Okay. Edges time. Edges are not too terribly difficult, they're just kind of annoying. This will be an asset stream, yeah. Alright, work mode activated. Let's get into the asset making. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Taylor, for your $5 donation. Taylor says, of all the planets you created, which one is the most popular where people go to have a wedding? Probably Felmuria. It's the most naturally beautiful and luscious with plants. That's probably a pretty popular one. I mean, if you could afford to have an off-planet wedding, which is pretty hard to afford. Oh yeah, stream goals. Okay. Did I say last stream that if we got $8 more, I would add the Rita to the scene? The plush Rita? Is that what I said? Cool, cool. Alright, we're getting close then. Also, since I am texturing right now, you know what that means. If anybody wants to put in a message hidden on the model that will be in the game, you can pay, if you donate $10, you get to put a message on this model somewhere that's hidden. Like at the bottom of the drawer you could put a message, or on the in the back of the drawer right here. Of course it has to be appropriate, that's all. Yeah, an off-planet vacation would be insane. Off-planet wedding would be super expensive. This is Torrera's office, yes. I know it looks really bright right now, but trust me, I'm gonna make some alterations. It'll make sense why I'm outlining all the edges. Oh my goodness. Taylor Edwards donated $10 to say Hakuna Matata. It means no worries. All right. That is a wonderful message. And it also means that we've gotten enough donations to put Rita Ragtime in the Torrera scene. Congratulations, everybody. Good work, good work. Thank you so much for all of your support. Let me go ahead and do that right now. 1 second. I gotta open up Blender and all that, and I gotta append. This might take me a minute to find where I stashed her in the modeling area in all my files. Maybe it's here. I'm on my other screen right now. Ah, it is. Okay. Here's the little plush. from the Fantastic Kitty-Roo. Now I'm gonna put it up here. And I think I want to hide it up here in the thing we were working on last week. Oh, by the way, here it is. I think we were modeling this last week, weren't we? Well, it's textured now. Here's how it looks. What do you think? We can put the plushie in here. Look, it's me! I'm in the game! Woohoo! So now if the player goes up here and interacts with this, whoop, there she is. Secret. Actually, it makes more sense for this one to move, so maybe I should put her on the other side. Let's see. There we go. All right, thank you so much for the donations. Who knows how that plushie got in there? Oh yeah, I mean, I gotta show you what else I was working on this week that you might have noticed. I made a new rug for this part using some Spanish rug styles, textiles that I found. And this one is going to be replaced because it's the same one as this one. So I'm working on a third one to put here. And I'm also working on the tassels on this one. It's not done yet. But yeah, I also finished the couch, putting on some more Spanish textiles that I found. So again, it's kind of this mix between Torrera's culture and then this this Japanese office that she's been assigned to. She's kind of leaving her cultural mark on this office. There's another little couch there. And then this is still being worked on, but it was gonna be the dog area. I stole some assets from Mariposa and the Galaxy Man, so I have to retexture them because they're old and in color. But that's that's the dog bed we're texturing today. And then look, she had a chair made out of horns of cows that she has hunted. I've seen like Texas Longhorn chairs at museums and stuff, so I thought it'd be really funny if she had a chair like that. And I'm still working on the taxidermy for this part right here. Hold on. I might actually work on it more today with you guys. Look at this. This is what I've been working on, actually posing them all out. So here's the cave hound attacking the Verna. Taking a big bite out of him. And this one is trying to get down there to help their friend. Also, the little Kipson's got a dead rodent in his mouth. And there's the little fluff bat hanging off of the antlers. Taxidermy is great. It's super educational. There's a huge taxidermy set up at the Houston Natural Science Museum, and it's amazing, and it helps teach a lot of kids about the Texas wildlife that's around our area and the environments around us and the critters that we need to be able to help preserve their environments and habitats. Taxidermy is great when it's used for good purposes and education, and I mean, if you already killed the critter, usually for reasons like for food or something like that, then I don't really see the problem with taxidermy at all. And then the chicken's getting hunted by the cave hound there. I was figuring out a couple different poses to use for the cats. But what I've potentially settled on is how the cats have almost a partnership hunting style, where one cat is the bait. So one cat has the tail up in order to try to catch and lure in different kinds of bugs. And then the other cat will pounce when the bugs get on the tail. So I was thinking it would be kind of funny if they made like pair bonds, hunting pair bonds for life, like swans mate for life, and then they help each other hunt. That was my idea. Ivana says, I rather prefer taxidermy not made of decapitated carcasses. Isn't that just fake then? That's not what... I mean, isn't taxidermy inherently made from the pelts of dead animals? I mean, if the animal's already dead, why not use it for taxidermy? It's you're using it instead of leaving it to rot outside or something. I don't really see the ethical issue as long as the animal was killed ethically and for a purpose. But that's just me. I know there's a lot of kind of debate, but in the end, yeah. In the end, everybody's allowed to have their own thoughts. Ziggurat says, I put the fluff pad on the other horn. You can barely see it from the front. That's actually why I put it there. I wanted the player... This is for a puzzle. This whole thing is a giant hint for a puzzle. So I want the player to have to kind of go in here and look around it and examine it instead of just looking at it from the front to get the hints, basically. Yeah. And thank you so much for the donation. Oh, hold on. I have to still put Taylor Edwards' donation message on the thing here. Hold on, let me do that real quick before I forget. Definitely don't want to forget. Okay, let's see if we can put it back here. Perfect. There's your hidden message. Hope you enjoy. How would I feel if I became taxidermy? I mean, I'm not an animal. I mean, I am, but I don't know if I'd really mind if it was done for education and science, honestly. And animals don't have the same opinions or feelings that we do about death, I would say. Animals don't have the same opinions about the idea of a desecration of a carcass or things like that. In fact, many animals are, if pushed to it, will eat their own species, but we don't consider that to be a moral thing to do. Once an animal is dead, I don't think they really... Obviously, it depends on the animal. They don't really care very much about desecration of a corpse. I understand your opinion. I don't know. I don't really think an animal would really care, honestly. Again, maybe it depends on the animal, but like, I love cats. I love cats a lot, but a cat will eat your face if you die in, if you die in your house and the cat has nothing else to eat, it will eat your body. It doesn't really care. It loved you when you were alive, but now that you're dead, you're food because it's got nothing else to eat. So animals are ultimately pragmatic and prioritize their own survival. They don't have the same ideas of morality or sacred ideas that we have. I would say I personally would not... See, Coach Torrera, what she is doing is she is taking the bodies of pets that she once had, like dogs that she once owned and loved, and she's taking their bodies and having them be taxidermied because out of a sense of love. Personally, I would not taxidermy my animals just because I don't want to have that constant reminder of them being gone and things like that. But it's different for different people. Some people love the idea of taxiderming their pets because it's a reminder of their life and how much they contributed to their life. It's not something I personally would do, but I understand why people might. Ultimately, again, I'm not saying that you have to like taxidermy or something, but that's just my thoughts on the matter. It's an interesting discussion, though. Something I am personally against is just hunting endangered animals for sport or things like that. And then making taxidermy of those endangered animals to parade in your house. That's not great. Not great at all. Poachers should be stopped. Yeah, like those ladies from Coraline, exactly. Like some people might think it's in bad taste, but and that's just what they do out of love, I guess. I also am just not into the idea of hunting in general unless you're doing it for a specific purpose. But again, that's my own opinion. Like, I don't really think you should kill an animal unless you're doing it for, like, explicitly getting food from it, or if it's invasive and it's causing ecological troubles, you know? You know what's interesting, actually? There is a couple of human taxidermy situations that are pretty fascinating to look into. One of which is the fact that when people donate their bodies to specific scientific institutions that display their skeletons for medical education, or use their organs and other body parts for medical education, like practice surgeries in the old times, or things like that, or for medical science specifically, a lot of times those parts will be displayed in a taxidermy-like fashion, or just displayed in general at science museums. Also for art education as well. Now, there have been issues in the past with how those bodies were sourced ethically. Like, did you know Benjamin Franklin was a grave robber? Or he, like, hosted grave robbers' finds in his, what was it, his basement or something? So obviously that's not ethical. But, yeah, there's a long history of quote-unquote human taxidermy that's pretty interesting. And mostly, again, the more positive aspects of it is when it's used for education. But you could also say that there's a sort of decorative or religious significance to some human taxidermy. Like, if y'all have been to some Catholic churches, many Catholic churches will display bones of saints, or teeth, or artifacts, hair, things like that of specific historical saints, as almost a symbol of holiness or prayer, or almost art in and of itself, you know? So I think there's something to be said about, I mean, even museums using mummies in expositions. I didn't mean expositions. You know what I mean. In museum, you can find all kinds of bodies being displayed for various reasons, mostly educational. So I guess the argument would be like, if animal taxidermy is completely unethical, using real animal bodies, does that also mean it's unethical to display skeletons in a medical school? Or real skeletons, that is. Or also, would it be unethical to display mummies in a museum? Interesting layers to ponder, I suppose. Exhibitions, yes, that's the word. My apologies. I would say perhaps the ethical argument for stuff like that would be that these people before their death didn't exactly consent to being displayed in public or being removed from their burial ground. I can understand some of those arguments. Though I suppose once a certain amount of time has passed and all of the people's relatives who... I don't know, it's it's an interesting argument, I'll give it that. Again, it kind of depends on what your views are on the sanctity of bodies or death, I suppose. But I will say that being able to use bodies for education and display has been able to help our medical industry save the lives of more people, you know? Agreed, Oscar, yeah. It's an interesting discussion, to be sure. But let me look this up real quick to make sure I'm not talking out of my butt here with Ben Franklin. Ben Franklin remains found in basement. Yes. There were tons of skeletons hidden in Benjamin Franklin's basement. Here, directly from Smithsonian Magazine. Apparently, as far as I remember, the reason why there were 1,200 pieces of bone beneath the Founding Fathers' London home. Apparently, he was part of the corpse robbing, grave robbing community specifically for medical science, because the guy was a scientist. Let's see. He left his English home, returned to America. Bones from more than a dozen bodies were found in the basement where they'd been buried in a mysterious windowless room beneath the garden. Conservationists were repairing the structure until they stumbled on the human bone. Forensic investigators suggested the bones were quite old. They had been buried over 200 years ago, around the time they resided in it. The plausible explanation is not mass murder, but an anatomy school run by Brand's young friend and protege William Hewson. Hewson was an anatomist and who began his career as a student of William Hunter, famous obstetrician who studied anatomy. So yeah, there you have it, guys. Benjamin Franklin likely helped his friend, or at least allowed his friend to use his basement to hold medical corpses for study. And it was likely ethically ambiguous, maybe dug up from the cemetery. There was a whole thriving business of corpse robbers who would specifically rob corpses for the medical students. It was a huge problem at the time. But at the same time, you could argue, I don't know if I necessarily agree with this argument, but it's interesting. You could argue that robbing those corpses was ultimately extremely helpful for the medical community's growth and being able to help people survive and live. From medical breakthrough, from studying the human body. History is sure interesting, isn't it? Yes, Victor Frankenstein, I believe in the books, he was also commissioned grave robbers to get the pieces for his Frankenstein creation. Isn't that correct? I have the book on my to-read list at the moment. I'm interested in reading it. I have it on my shelf. So, thus begins an ethical quandary about using people's bodies without their permission in order to advance science for the sake of other bodies that are currently still alive. What is ethical, what is not? An interesting question, to be sure. You believe Victor did the exhumations himself? Maybe so, yeah. You're probably right. Like I said, I haven't read it yet. Haven't read it in a hot minute. It technically was assigned to us in high school, but I just didn't read it. I just read the Spark Notes. And when I was high school, I was like, I don't have the time for this. I'm too busy making My Little Pony videos. Oh, Ivana, I was saying that I was wondering if he paid someone to do it or if he did it himself. That was what I was pondering. Is this music from Fire Emblem? Oh, no, I guess not. Okay. Victor having an accomplice came from the stage play because they needed the actor to have someone to have dialogue with. That's what led to the creation of Fritz or Igor from the Universal Monster films. Oh, interesting. That makes a lot of sense. That kind of brings up a tweet I was looking at earlier where someone was commenting on someone else's tweet who had said, like, the only good written video game is Disco Elysium, and Baldur's Gate's writing sucks from a book perspective. And then the person said, well, of course it sucks from a book perspective. Baldur's Gate 3 is not a book. It was written as a video game. And I thought that was interesting because it kind of delved into this whole idea of writing depending on the medium that it calls for, and how good writing in one medium might be bad writing in another medium. So going back to Frankenstein, writing for a play necessitates a lot of dialogue and narration that you don't really need in a book. Example, Frankenstein. In the book Frankenstein, you can easily just have the narrator describe what Frankenstein is thinking. In a play, though, just having him narrate his thoughts to himself could probably work. There's a lot of plays that do stuff like that, like soliloquies and internal narration, but having another character to bounce off of in a visual format like that probably helps it feel more natural to the audience, and maybe more interesting, too. So, pretty interesting, huh? Just the idea of things that do need to be changed in adaptation in order to make it fit said adaptation better. For some reason, I've been seeing a lot of critiques of Baldur's Gate's writing on my Twitter For You page recently, but I'm not sure why. And I'm interested because I do have some personal flaws with Baldur's Gate 3's writing, but I never see them actually cite any reasons why they think Baldur's Gate 3's writing is weak. I feel like if you're gonna make a statement like that, can you at least back it up? Can you at least back it up with a source or some arguments? Because maybe I'll agree with you. I don't know. My source is that I made it the hell up. Oh, you're right, Taylor. A good example is that Coraline has no Coraline has no one to talk to in the book, but in the movies she talks to Wybie. Yeah, exactly. That's one of the main reasons they added Wybie as a character. I think he's an improvement to the material. I like Wybie. My source is that it came to me in a dream. Okay. I swear I wasn't just putting edges on this thing for no reason. It's gonna look nice. Let me put it to screen and then do this. Okay, maybe that's a little too... Put it like 16 maybe? I think that looks pretty good. There's still some more stuff I gotta do on this though. For example, an overpaint. And then I gotta, oops, wrong color. I gotta add some little cracks here between the different wood pieces. Same thing happened in the Project Hail Mary movie. They came up with Carl because it was too much of Grace thinking by himself. Oh, that's funny. It really worked though. I had no idea. I mean, I guess if you want to be pedantic, you could say that Carl had no relevance outside of the first part of the movie. But I'm not going to be pedantic. He was a fun character, and he doesn't have to be relevant the entire movie to be needed in the script. In fact, if you wanted to go harder analysis mode, you could say he's sort of a precursor to Rocky and kind of foreshadowing the sort of science friendship built up between Grace and Rocky. Yeah, you're right. He kind of served as an audience surrogate, too. Thanks. I just came up with it now. so excited for that new Leica movie. Now that y'all got me thinking about Coraline, I'm thinking about it again. Taylor says, has anyone had to deal with the leftover smoke from Australian fires? Oh, I don't know. Anybody here had to deal with that? That sucks. Hope y'all are okay. Hello, Battleship. Welcome in. The fact that Wildwood has a longer runtime, I think, is what actually gets me really excited, because I feel like no animated movies get to have the luxury of being a proper longer film. So the fact that they, with such an expensive style of animation, they went with such a long runtime makes me think that the story that they want to tell is hopefully worth that time. They needed that time to tell the story they wanted to tell. So that makes me a little more excited, I guess, if that makes any sense. The fact that they were willing to spend that much on doing that much more expensive stop motion animation, hopefully means that they really believe that it needed that time. If that makes sense, if I'm explaining that correctly. Canadian fires are pouring south. Air quality index is officially in the hazardous range where I am. Oh my gosh. I hope you're okay. How do you even deal with that? Just stay indoors? Because obviously the air from the outdoors still comes indoors. Yeah, same, Oscar. Okay, looks like the chest here is about done. I'm gonna add a little bit of shininess to it though. My work mode timed out. It didn't time out, I just pressed the wrong button. I just have them mapped to my number buttons, so sometimes if I accidentally press one of my number buttons for something else, it switches my expression, that's all. I don't have a Stream Deck or anything, just using my keyboard. I'm working through my psychic powers, yes. Stay safe, battleship. Yes, you watched Song of the Sea. Very nice. I love that movie. Alright, now we've added some shine to the wood. Maybe a little too much. Let me put the opacity down a bit. Now let's put a little bit of shine on this little door. I am angry at the opacity. I don't know why that happened. I don't know. What did I even press? I don't recall needing to press a number as part of my workflow. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna erase it a little bit. Nice. Just think about it, guys. Almost every piece of wood is hand painted in my game. All of this wood grain is hand painted. So much work, but it's all worth it to get it hand crafted. I really need to spend some more time marketing. I just don't have the time right now. Got commissions, and I have still barely done any art fight submissions, which I'm mad at myself about. I've been so busy. I want to get revenge on some of the lovely attacks people have done on me this year. Here are all my expressions. I'll just show them to you. Here's my default expression, just me you know, bouncing around, smiling and all that. This is my happy expression. It also is the key for 3D coat to make everything black in the shader, but don't worry, I can undo it. Then next is sad, my sad expression. And then there's angry, which I get by pressing 9. And then work mode. There you go. Don't I have a team to help me with marketing? Oh, honey. Oh, honey. No. It's all me. I don't have money to pay a marketing team. I was hoping to get a publisher to help with that, but nobody has wanted to be my publisher yet. Wait, why is my wireframe yellow now? Weird. Weird. Alright, cool. Now we can do this pillow. I'm gonna probably do it pretty quickly and simply. I've shaded pillows before. I've played these games before. I've played these games before. Okay, let's see. Now we are going to do the playlist Study at the Favonius Library. Alright. Yeah, these publishers don't know what they're missing. I know what you mean. Taylor says, I always try to tell people about your game whenever I'm on a live stream. I don't know whether they actually go and play it, but I try. I really appreciate that. You know, that's the best way to get games to be, to spread around is through word of mouth. So, I really appreciate that. But once the game gets closer to launching next year, I'll probably focus almost all of my full-time efforts on marketing. Oh, that's okay. Are your Streamlabs donos turned off? No? Hold on. Let me check it. Oh my gosh. Wait. Wait, what? I don't see it on the recent events. Was it the donation from 44 minutes ago with the I'd put the fluff bat on the other horn? Is that the one you're talking about, or is it like a Streamlabs one specifically? Because I'm pretty sure both of them are turned on, not just the YouTube donations. Let me check. Let me check my PayPal, because I believe those donations should go directly to my PayPal. I'm not seeing it on my PayPal or my Streamlabs. Uh-oh, now my YouTube live thing has crashed. Great. No, just now with Streamlabs? I'm not seeing it. on my Streamlabs dashboard. And I'm not, again, it should go directly to my PayPal, but I'm not seeing it on PayPal either. I'm sorry, I don't really know where I would find it otherwise. Let me check that link again. It looks like it's connected to my account. Okay, this is strange. Looks like it's connected properly. That link should work. And it should be connected to the right PayPal account. I'm sorry, I don't know. I'm not seeing it anywhere. Oh, wait, hold on. Oh no. The last one I see here is from April 15th from you. $10 PayPal donation on April 15th of the world's bestest daddy thing from the Judith's dad chat. You should check and see if it actually took that money out of your account, because if not, maybe you can contact Streamlabs for a refund or something. I'll wait a bit and see if it went through. Oh, it said streamer keypad fund and it had a cat smashing a keyboard. That's funny. I don't know why it didn't go through. It's the same link you used for that donation previously in April. I'm sorry about that. I don't really know what to do. Thank you very much, though. I'll keep checking. That is funny. I love that feature of being able to pick a GIF out. Again, I wish it worked. Is there any way to contact Streamlabs for a refund? Oh my gosh, was that it? Mauricio tipped. Oh, Mauricio donated $1 test. It worked there. What on earth? Let me check my dashboard again. Okay, yeah. It shows the test working. The test worked. And I see it in my Streamlabs. And I see my PayPal notification of payment as well. So that one worked. I don't know why the other one didn't. Is it the custom gift thing, I wonder? Huh, I don't know. I'm very sorry about that. I don't know what went wrong. But thank you for activating the Link dancing gift for the chat. Well, would you look at that? We've got a little pillow. I'll let you know what happens, Ziggurat. If not, you might have to contact Streamlabs support. Or if you used a credit card, you might be able to charge back? I'm not sure. I'm not sure how it works. But thank you again for the donation. It's like Streamlabs just ate it or something. Maybe it's the IPS? I'm not sure. What is the IPS? Okay, there's that part of the pillow. I'm gonna render out these wrinkles a little bit more. I have to say, guys, it has been a little bit depressing. Oh! Hello? This was the GIF, LOL. Oh, it looks like the GIF thing doesn't work. Oh, maybe that was part of it. But even then, that wouldn't make sense, because if you tried the custom GIF for that one and it didn't work, then it shouldn't have prevented the other one from working and showing up. I'm not sure. I just looked back at my Streamlabs and I'm still only seeing the $1 on there. Same on PayPal. How strange. I'll have to check my Streamlabs settings too. In any case, if your donations for today have gone past $10, you can write a message, a secret message on the wardrobe if you like, on the chest if you'd like. Oh, we were talking about what we've been reading earlier. I want to share what I've been reading recently. I started this book called Grimoire Grammar Magic School or something. Grimoire Grammar Magic School PTA, Parent Teacher Advisory. And it's a book, it's almost like set in a Harry Potter-like world with, you know, magic schools and secret society of wizards and stuff, except it follows a mother whose daughter got bit by a werewolf, so that made who turned her daughter into a werewolf, and because of that they were forced to have to start taking part in the magical society when they used to know nothing about it. So it's a pretty fun read so far about this mom trying to blend into this completely different Harry Potter world that she had no idea about, and all of her trials and tribulations of trying to fit in. It's pretty fun. Hello, Mr. 10 Years in the Joint. Welcome to the chat. Today we are texturing some environment art. I think I'm about done with this pillow right here. Maybe it's a little too shiny. I'm not sure. Might have to make it a little less shiny. Yeah, I thought it was interesting that I had a mom as the main character. That's one of the reasons I decided to read it. Of course, usually with those kind of stories, like with Harry Potter, it usually stars the magical kid as the protagonist, but here it stars the non-magical mom trying to help her werewolf child navigate this new school system and brand new society. So it's a fun concept, and it's written pretty well. I'm having a good time with it. It's not like what's the word? Like highbrow literature or anything, but it's fun and it's well written, so I'm enjoying it. Haven't finished it just yet, but working on it. Okay, now let's texture this dog bed. Okay, dog bed, dog bed. I wonder if I should put some kind of pattern on it. In any case, I would put the pattern on near the end of the process, but maybe I'll put on the same pattern that I did for the couch. We shall see. Okay, now let's start doing some of the highlights on the edges. Now that we've done that, it's time to do some of the little wrinkles and the seams of the dog bed. We can do the seam here. I feel like the dog bed might have to have a couple holes in it. That'd be kind of fun. Where he chews on it or claws at it. But for now, I'm gonna do the wrinkles. You might be wondering why I have such 3 random objects in one file together. Like, why is this wardrobe in the same, or chest in the same file as 2 pillows? It's because I'm trying to save texture space. If I put a bunch of different objects on one texture sheet, it saves a lot of texture space and a lot of file size. Instead of having 3 separate texture files, I can just squeeze them all onto one texture sheet and optimize things a little bit more. You know? So we don't have a 1 bazillion texture files clogging up the game's memory. Okay, I've been standing up this whole time because I've been using my standing desk, but I think it's time to sit down. Hold on, let me adjust my standing desk. Yeah, my legs were getting tired. I'm ready. Desks are a godsend. They seriously help your back if your entire job is being at a desk all day. Yeah. I got mine from IKEA. So if you're interested in getting a standing desk, that's one option for where you can find one. Speaking of IKEA, by the way, I was at IKEA again recently, just to walk around and look around and grab some meatballs and candles. But I was noticing something pretty sadly upsetting, which was the fact that so much of the art in their little displays, their furniture displays, so much of it was AI. Obviously AI. And even the family photographs in a lot of their setups were AI. It was distressing. What was really hilarious to me, in a darkly hilarious fashion, was there was this whole gamer room setup display, and all of the games that this fictional, whoever is owning this fictional display IKEA room were playing, it was all AI games. There was even an AI racing game that was playing on one of the TVs. It was disgusting. I don't think it's legally... I think IKEA could legally use some real game footage for their display rooms, right? I think it's fine for a display to use copyright. I'm not sure. In any case, they could have just bought a stock image or something. I'm sure there's plenty of game stock footage things that they could buy legally, instead of using stolen slop footage. There was even a rip-off Minecraft image on one of the fake computer screens. It was so depressing. But the AI family photos were even worse, because it is... Listen, IKEA has a company that's been going for years and years and years. This is an old company. They should have plenty, like thousands and thousands of stock photos and family photo shoots that they've already done. Why do you have to use new AI photos when I'm sure you have, like I said, thousands of family IKEA stock photos that you've probably already used for these showrooms for forever? Why did you have to replace what you already had with AI slop? It doesn't make any sense to me. It's like just replacing it for the sake of replacing it. It's so annoying. It's more work to generate AI images instead of just using what stock you already have. It's so dumb. Anyway, one of the fun things that I did do this week was I visited a library a few towns away. And this library is great because it has a lot of art resources. And oh my gosh, I completely fell in love with this library. I basically took a research trip. I took a research trip to a library about 2 hours away, and I found incredible references there, art references. Because like I said last stream, I've been so tired of trying to find references online when everything is AI, or I suspect it might be AI. I decided to go to more libraries and start my own photo reference collection using library books. So anyway, this library that I went to had an enormous art reference collection, and I had so much fun looking through and finding all kinds of gems to use as references. One of the books I found was all about embroidery in Spain, and I used that for references for some of the patterns I have put on Torrera's pillows and rugs. And I know for sure that it's actually accurate and based on real cultural stuff because it's from a book. Because especially with these oldest books, these older books, they were peer-reviewed and published and historically reviewed and all that stuff before they could get published. So isn't that great? These days the internet is just not a valid source anymore for anything. It's all slop. You have to go back to the libraries, back to the books, back to physical media. And yet they're trying to get rid of physical media. Isn't that ridiculous? Isn't that suspicious? They do not want you to believe your eyes and your ears. They want you to believe what they tell you to believe. And see only the slop they want you to see. And take away everything. You can't own anything anymore. You can only have rent a digital license that they can take away whenever they want, and you can never resell. Hey, Lowest Expectations, thank you for the raid. Y'all raided me at a time that I'm going through an anti-AI and anti-digital ownership rant. The whole Sony disc thing really pissed me off, guys. I am a PlayStation type of girly. I personally like the PlayStation a lot, and I will not be getting the next PlayStation. If there's no disc drive, I'm not getting it. Rating mid-rant is always a vibe. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I hate the future of owning nothing and being unhappy. Yeah. Well, maybe this is a good time to mention that the Fantastic Kitty Roo is on GOG, or Good Old Games, and every game that you buy on Good Old Games is yours forever. You get to own the actual files of the game on GOG. So as much as I like Steam, technically GOG is even better for actually owning your games, because every game you buy on there, you physically own. So if you want to physically, well, not physically, you know what I mean, like digitally own the files of the Fantastic Kitty Roo, you can buy it on GOG. Reject modernity, return to library. That's what I say. Return to library. I encourage all of you guys, if you're doing research for any projects, just go back to the library. It's so insane to me how obvious it is, or even sometimes, oh, whoa. Thank you so much for your donation, Ziggurat. I abandoned PlayStation years ago. I saw the writing on the wall when they began charging for playing online. PC Master Race. Yeah, seriously. Absolutely ridiculous. By the way, Ziggurat, you've probably donated like over $10 by this point. Would you like to write a message on the wardrobe? I would be totally up for doing that. I don't know how much your missing donation was, but yeah. Isn't there a way to download your games onto a CD like how people used to do with DVDs? I think some people have figured that out, yes. Oscar says, actually got a research trip coming up next weekend. Oh, if it's not too much privacy violation to ask, where are you going and for what research purpose? Is it for your novel? Ziggurat says, PC Master Race. Is that what, that's what you'd like to write? I agree, let's do that. Let's put that, well, we can't put that down here because it will be seen, because that's the sliding door. Let's put it here. All right. Oh, hold on. Wait, should I put it here? Maybe I should put it at the bottom of the drawer. Yeah. Let's do that. There we go. Going back to the old school early 2010s console PC wars. Taylor, you can just go to your local library. Do you have a library that's near to you? You don't have to travel to a library to research it. You can go to a local library. I'm sure they have plenty of fairy tales and other things, medieval or other sources. The Oscar says, I'm going to Birmingham for DinoCon 2026. There'll be paleontologists, paleo artists, animators, science communicators, and TV producers to meet and learn from. That is awesome. That sounds incredible. Huh. How fun. I saw that on Twitter too, Ziggurat. Someone got Astrobot running on PC. That is so funny. That's what they get. Oh, there's no libraries near you, Taylor. That's unfortunate. Wait, so there's Renaissance Fair near you, but no libraries? You know what you could find, Taylor? You could try finding some online audiobooks. There are online library services, so you could get some audiobooks for free, renting them through library services online. You don't have to worry about AI if it's an old audiobook. That's another way to research things. Also, I would be careful, Taylor, of using a Renaissance Fair to research. Nothing about a Renaissance Fair is usually very accurate if you're trying to be historically accurate in your research. Renaissance fairs are super fun, but they are far from accurate. Listening to fairy tales can be pretty fun. That makes sense. But yeah, there's some online library resources that you could use in audiobook libraries online that might be able to help you with your research. What is the setting of your fairy tale? Is it general medieval or Renaissance, or what's the setting like? Because whatever the setting is, I'm sure there's plenty of historical documentation, books, and audiobooks you could listen to. Yeah, exactly, Cat's Library. You can get a library card and check out ebooks. Libraries are awesome. Support your local library. Yeah, totally. I hope you find what you're looking for. Oof, that was a lot of folds for this dog bed. We're close to being done with the dog bed. Yeah, reading out loud can help with comprehension, too. Oh, that's interesting. Let's add a little bit more shine to this. Just got an AI generated ad. Oh boy. Great. Oh, but back to talking about that library I went to. I was also able to find an entire massive book all about 1940s advertising. It was so cool. So I took a bunch of pictures of it. It was just a huge catalog of all kinds of 1940s magazine ads. So you can trust that I'll be using some of those as inspiration for some environment art. I was thinking it'd be kind of cool if there's some magazines that kids have left open around the school and you can look inside them to see some little articles about the world and learn more about the world building, and maybe amidst those articles are little advertisements that are based on real advertisements. Oh yeah, the passing of Sam O'Neill. Very unfortunate. I'm sure they're gonna do something to remember him at that convention. Actually, you know what's funny about that question? Is I don't really have a lot of things I specifically like from the 40s, but there's a bunch of stuff from the 50s that I like. Like Singin' in the Rain and White Christmas. And, what was that movie I'm thinking of? Oh, well, not movie, but I used to watch a lot of I Love Lucy when I was a kid. There's a couple noir movies that I've seen and liked, but I kind of forget some of their titles. It's been a while since I've watched them. I need to watch some more 40s movies for research. But yeah, one of my favorite old school movies is Singin' in the Rain. The music is so good, and it's so charming. Yeah, a lot of I Love Lucy when I was a kid. We used to rent the DVDs from Netflix of I Love Lucy, and we went through, like, all of it. We also used to watch a lot of Brady Bunch and Gilligan's Island. And Get Smart, the original Get Smart show. That whole show was basically James Bond if he was an idiot. He was a comedic idiot. Maxwell Smart, Secret Agent 86. My parents always wanted me to watch the classics, of course. Gilligan's Island. Alright, I think the painting is pretty much done on this dog bed. Oh gosh, that's right. I forgot. I wanted to do some parts where it's chewed up. Hold on, let me look up reference real quick. Dog bed, dog bed. Hold on, was I muted when I was talking about my favorite 40s things? I think was I muted the whole time? When I was talking about Get Smart and Singing in the Rain and stuff. I wasn't? Okay, good. I thought I might have been because I just saw my mic was muted. Okay, good. Thanks. I saw my mic was muted and I was like, did I just do that or was that there the whole time? Not really seeing good reference here. I might just wing it. Okay, let me try winging it. I'm gonna change the music. Let's change it to Evening in Seat Lolly's Home, Natlan OST. Okay, there we go. Timberborn soundtrack? I don't know. I haven't heard it before. Maybe later. Maybe later. It's chill. That's cool. Did you just saw a blood? This is not blood. Oh, are you saying this is a blood cell? No, this isn't a blood cell. It's a dog bed. Thanks, Ziggurat. It's not finished yet. Oh, I don't know if you should use my game as a reference for what it's like being in a boarding school. I haven't been in a boarding school. I'm just trying my best to replicate that environment, but it's probably not going to be super accurate. I've been to public school, but not a boarding school, so I'm mostly pulling on what I know from public school life that I experienced and doing the research that I can. Yeah, bad flashbacks. I was so glad to be out of school. There was one time when I was in middle school, there was this guy who sat behind me who kept like pulling my hair and like making jokes and behind me and stuff like that. I did not like him, obviously, but then when one of the school dances was gonna come around, he like goes up to me with his friends behind him and goes like, "Hey, I want to ask you to the dance." And being someone who was like freshly out of homeschooling, I was like, "Ew, no, I don't know you." And And in my head I was like, and I don't like you either. And then all his friends started laughing. It's only now that I realize he was probably asking me out as a joke. Because I was such a nerd. It's like, oh, they didn't actually like me. They were making fun of me. Oh well. Glad to not be in that environment anymore. I think the same group of friends came up at one point with another one of their group trying to ask me out. And then I also said no, and then they laughed again. Thankfully, besides that incident, there wasn't ever really... I didn't really get into, like, bullying incidents, really. Our schools, the schools that I went to were pretty chill. We didn't really see people picking on each other very much. So thankfully I didn't really have super bad public school incidents or anything. It was just supremely boring and soul-sucking. But yeah. I mostly just kind of got ignored by people. I was the teacher's pet. I was the teacher's pet. I was the one collecting the homework when she asked me to and all that stuff. I was the one defending the teacher and like saying, hey guys, we gotta focus. Hey guys, be quiet, you know? So, I mean, I made a few friends, but moving to Texas in the middle of my freshman year was very hard on friendships, you know? Moving in the middle of the year, I lost some of the good friend that I had in freshman year, and I wonder how she's doing. We kind of lost touch with each other. But mostly I was just kind of ignored by people, and I ignored people, so... I talked with some people, but ultimately I was pretty lonely. But I would say that a lot of the reason for that was kind of my own fault. I didn't really go out and try to make friends very much. I just kind of assumed that I was better than everybody else, kind of. Because I listened to the teacher, and I did my homework, so I'm better than you. That's kind of how I felt. But in hindsight, I mean, yeah, it was good that I did my homework and stuff, but I missed out on actually trying to reach out to people and be friendly with people and build relationships. I just didn't really talk with people. But that's the nice thing about getting older, is that you learn from your mistakes, and just because you're not in basically, what I'm trying to say is you do not peak in high school. You are a stupid, stupid idiot in high school. And you get better. And you can learn, you can grow, you can become a better person as you become an adult. You can change yourself. And now I have a lot more friends, and I have some very close friends that I love very much. Yeah, exactly, Ziggurat. Like, sometimes you can do bad things too, but you change. You know, you grow up, you realize you were stupid, and that's what I realized about myself. I realized that a lot of my loneliness was self-inflicted. People did reach out to me. I had an extrovert that kind of adopted me in high school, and she tried to help me connect with other people, but I didn't really take her up on her help very much, you know? I just sat in my little lunch corner and sat by myself. Even other people kind of tried to help adopt me into their groups, but I just wanted to do my own thing, and I regret it now, but I can't really live too much in that regret. All I know is that I grew from it and things are much better now, and I still have a long, long rest of my life to live as someone who's grown from that. Actually, Judith is based a little bit on that aspect of myself when I was younger. That aspect of me thinking I was better than everybody else, thinking I was better than the other students because I had better grades. I am actually doing the work. I am listening to the teacher. So everybody else, I don't even want to talk with them. You know, obviously Judith is very exaggerated, and she's not exactly a self-insert or anything like that. I wouldn't say that at all. Judith is more arrogant in sort of a different way than I was, but I did base some of the character growth that she goes through on myself, learning to realize that no, you are not the coolest, bestest, most moral person in the world at school. You need to reach outside of, you need to like reach outside of yourself and towards other people, and be less selfish. Because some people don't realize that selfishness can come in different forms, I think. Yeah, exactly. Like I said, she's not exactly based on myself. Like I said, I was a teacher's pet. I would not do some of the things that Judith does to the teachers, not at all. But there's elements there of what I went through. And almost me telling my high school self off. Yeah, school bullying is definitely a huge issue. I'm so grateful I didn't really go through the kind of terrible things that I've heard can go on in public school. In one aspect, being such a loner might have been positive in that way. That I didn't really get involved in some of those social things. I was too busy writing my book. I was like, oh, I'm too busy writing my novel to socialize with the common folk. That's kind of how ridiculous I was. But anyway. I don't think we could afford private school at that time. One of the reasons why we went from homeschooling to public school was that I was starting to get to a level of math that my mom didn't feel comfortable teaching me. So she decided, all right, well, I guess it's time to, since I can't teach you any of this stuff anymore, I can't really teach this, it's time to hand you off to people who are qualified to teach it. So yeah, I think that was a good choice, even though, yeah, the transition to public school was definitely a bit difficult. It was difficult, but it really wasn't impossible. I got used to it. The thing is, the thing I just hated about public school was just being stuck in the having to get up super early, for one thing. Every day having to sit in a classroom for hours and hours and hours and not being able to just do what I don't know. Not being able to just finish the work and then be done and then do whatever I wanted the rest of the day. The thing that's great about homeschooling is that As long as I finished my assignments, I was done, and I could do whatever I wanted the rest of the day. That was the nice part about it. Finish my reading, finish my assignments, finish all that. Okay, now I'm done. Now I can do whatever. Yeah, Oscar, exactly. But yeah, I'm if y'all had to go through some of that stuff, serious stuff at school, I'm very sorry about that. Kids can seriously be cruel. Kids can really suck. I do remember there was one day in public school that actually pissed me off, though, where there was a substitute teacher in our English class. I think this was middle school. Yeah, this was 8th grade. There was a middle school teacher, substitute, who came in for our English class, and she couldn't speak English super well. She had a bit of an accent. That was an issue to me, but nobody else in the class wanted to listen to her at all. Like, they just completely ignored her and started yelling and screaming and gossiping and didn't listen to anything she said. She was like trying so hard to get them to listen to her. That pissed me off. I helped her out as best as I could with collecting the homework and everything, but oh man, the next day when our teacher came back, she was so mad. She told off everybody. But I think she specifically, like, told me that she was glad that I helped out the substitute, and she was glad that I did that. And that made me feel so happy. So hey, at least there was something good about being a teacher's pet. They were so rude to her. I think the reason why I was such a teacher's pet is that because when you're homeschooled, you're surrounded by adults like the whole day. You know, your teacher is your mom. So I was more used to talking with adults and socializing with adults. So it was easy for me to get along with my teachers because they were just like, oh, this is a teacher mom. But even when I was homeschooled, I wasn't, like, in the house all day, all the time. I went to a homeschool group where other homeschool moms and kids would get together to, where the moms would host classes in kind of subjects that they're experienced in to help other homeschooled moms' kids get a fuller range of education. For example, if a mom... if she was experienced in sewing, she could teach other homeschooled moms' kids how to sew and how to make patterns, how to use a sewing machine. I think I took a couple of those classes when I was there. And my mom, for example, is more experienced in, like, reading and writing type stuff, so she could teach classes on those things to their kids. So it was a really smart way of kind of still having that homeschool experience, but using the talents that other moms have to help other moms' kids. It's pretty cool. It was a good way to get learning from other places as well. Okay, we've got some tears in the dog bed now. Well, let's try putting on this pattern I made. Well, I say I made it, but I referenced it from one of those reference books I was telling you guys about. Oh wow, Oscar. Yeah, that's tough. Oh, and I get what you mean, Ziggurat. Yeah. You got to play Badger and Wind of the Willows? That's fun. Okay, so there are these kind of metal brackets on this thing holding some of these sides together. I don't know if I want to paint them though, or if that's just going to be too much effort. I'm going to see what I can do. My dad voiced Mr. Toad in one of those Wind in the Willows adaptations. Not the Disney one, of course. Hold on, let me see if I can find the one my dad voiced in. 1 second. Ah, okay. Okay, this one. 1 sec. This one. Dad voiced Mr. Toad in this version of Wind in the Willows. I very fondly remember this version from when I was a kid. I don't know which year. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Blue Spirited Dragon, thank you so much for the $20 donation. Here's some treasure from my hoard. Got paid today. Thank you so much. If you'd like, you can pick out a special message to write on here. And it will be there in the final game as well. So as long as you come up with some kind of appropriate message, I can write it in this and it will be hidden in the game forever. Thank you all once again for helping support the development of this game. I really appreciate it. How about reach for the stars? Yeah, I can do that. Alright, I'll finish up here and then I'll write that message on this. Apparently the one with your dad also came out in 1995 along with the other one. Weird. Wow, yeah. For some reason, Wind in the Willows adaptations went hard in that year. Okay, reach for the stars. Let's put that one in here. There we go. And because of the texture mirroring, it gets mirrored on the other side a little bit too. Thank you so much for the donation. Good night, Ivana. Thank you for joining the stream. Yeah. She is quite the keyboard imitator, isn't she? Thank you for the jewels. Oh, Argentina won against England? Dang. Does that mean Miku is Argentinian now? There was a discount at the store, so I'm currently stuffing my face with chocolate. Very nice, very nice. What kind of chocolate, though? That's important. Kinder Maxi chocolate. Nice. Okay, almost done. Almost done. You have obtained pudding. Wonderful. Okay, I think the only thing left is the little welds on it, like the little buttons, metal buttons holding him on. Alright, very nice. Next up is Cyberpunk 2077 ambient music, Misty's Esoterica. Maybe I'll do Timberborn next time, because I'm probably gonna stop the stream pretty soon. I'm almost done. Almost done. Goodbye, Lowest Expectations. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for raiding. Okay. I think that's it. Let me just do one more little thing. I'm making the edges a little bit brighter on the metal. A little shinier. Good night, Oscar. Thank you for coming. Oh, lovely to have you as always. Okay. I think this is it. Now, I gotta export. Wait, what? What? What is it doing? Okay. Weird. Anyway, let's open up Blender. Blue Spirited Dragon says, I need to try making models in this style. I'm stuck with making low poly PS1 and 64 style ones for my game, which makes me appreciate what they achieved back then so much more. Oh, for sure. For sure. Alright, moment of truth. Let's put this texture on and see how it looks. Ah, there we are. Beautiful. Look at that. Why is the taxidermy display different? Different file. This is the just block out one that I put in. I made a separate file for the actual one that I'm working on because, well, for several reasons, but mostly because I didn't want to put all those animal rigs in this file because it would just overwhelm it. Sorry, it's kind of hard to explain, but it'll be in the proper file soon enough once it's done. Dev reasons, yeah. There we go. Sliding door at the bottom. Yay! Yay! Oh. Whoops. I love the way it turned out. All right. Let's put these things where they go. we can replace this ugly old bed. And then this chair as well. There we go. Looks very nice. Thank you very much. As for this, still trying to figure out where this will go. I was thinking maybe here. But I may also put it on the other side over here. Oh, I don't have to worry about that just yet. For now, look at the progress. This is coming along much quicker than the headmaster's office did. Probably because I've been learning stuff and learning how to get faster too. Well, that's all for this week's stream. Thank you all so much for joining me today, and thank you as well for all the support and all the donations. They really help out. Really appreciate all of your guys' support, and I appreciated talking with you all today and talking about books and all that kind of stuff and school and things. I'll see you guys next week. I don't know exactly what I'll be streaming next week. I might continue working on this office, or I might finally texture the Torrera. I don't know yet. It depends on what needs to be done. There's a lot of stuff that needs to be done. See you guys. Have a good night.